Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be asking the question, are there supply chain issues with programming? Alright, welcome back. For this video, make sure you like, subscribe. More like subscribes to get the more content we can make. Number one reason why you subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel is to get into the money-making trends before they go mainstream. So let's talk a little bit about supply chain. So if you want to order anything, or if you have ordered anything, you probably noticed that the supply chains have been a little bit backed up lately. And of course, the reason for this is inflation. And the question that I'm answering today is, does this affect programming and software development? So there's a few things that we need to really look at. First is the actual startup costs of being a software developer, or let's say physical goods. The second is the actual labor, and third is the actual delivery. So let's take a look at the first item. If you need to upgrade your computer or get a new computer, then chances are the parts are going to be a little bit more. And if you need a graphics card, well, guess what? The parts are going to be even more for that. Now there's a chip shortage, and a lot of the graphics cards that are being used today are being used to mine Bitcoin, and graphic cards are absolutely very expensive. So the other day I looked on eBay for the price of graphics cards, and they're pretty high. And the reason for this is that you can just basically set up these graphics cards with a mining rig and start making money passively. Now, whether or not you can be profitable at it right now is kind of anybody's guess, but what you're really banking on is Bitcoin going up to the moon. This was a better business plan 2 or 3 years ago when the Bitcoin was in a bear market. So nevertheless, if you do need to buy a computer, not only will it take time for your computer to arrive to you, you might not be able to get a good one. And if you do want to get a good one, then it might cost a little bit more money. So when it comes to inflation, the startup costs and let's say the maintenance cost of physical goods will continue to go up. Now, I also have this problem where I like to buy some peripherals, specifically mice. Now, if I need to buy more mice, which I do all the time, and I can't get that, that's a big problem for me. I can get repetitive stress issues. So it's not just the computer itself, but there's pretty much everything around it. Now the second thing is labor. Now if you walk around your city, chances are there are help wanted signs everywhere. And this is kind of weird. Well, inflation's going up and unemployment is technically a little bit higher, but there's help wanted signs anywhere. Now of course there can be a lot of reasons for this. And one aside is that I remember graduating in the 2008 financial crisis and there was no help wanted signs anywhere. And this would have been great for me, the young go-getter, to actually get a job, because it would have been quite a bit better for me to actually find work than for me to just, well, not find any work at all. Nevertheless, does this happen with programming? Well, there has been a programmer shortage, well, basically for the last 10 years, and that's not going away anytime soon. And that's why I have an e-learning company that shows people how to code, because it's really the best thing that you can do. Now, just because there's a shortage of programmers doesn't mean that there's a shortage at, let's say, Google or Apple. You still have to pass a very specific test to get into those places. What is really opportunistic now for anyone wanting to learn to code is that there are tons of jobs available at the low end and for freelancing work. So if you want to be a freelancer, now is really the time. Now, having said that, the big difference between, let's say, 5 or 10 years ago is that programmers were still in demand and there weren't very many jobs. It was very hard to find any given job in pretty much every other field. The difference now is that it's much easier to find a job elsewhere, not in the programming field. And therefore, there are people that would normally go into software development to upgrade when they just either A, collect stimulus money, or B, they just go into a different job altogether. So nevertheless, there is still a shortage of programmers, as there will always be, because you need a certain level of cognition to actually be a programmer. And if you can do that, well then guess what? You're probably going to be a lot better off. Now, here's the thing. You're probably going to get paid more as a software developer than some other items. Now, of course, this is something that you want to pursue because, again, if you can master technology, you will be rich for the rest of your life. So let's talk a little bit about software delivery. Is there a shortage there? Well, the beautiful thing about software is that you can sell 1 or 10 million units just like this. You can put up a game on the App Store and you can sell either 1 or 10 million units with basically no hassle. Now, of course, there are other issues. If you are making a software as a service, you have to hire support and you might not be able to hire that support. So really the delivery isn't the problem, it's the service around the delivery which could be the issue. If you've never made a software as a service before, you'll realize that there is a component of support and documentation, and these are things that you'll have to do. So one thing that is going to happen is that you can probably charge a little bit more for your service than originally expected. Now, one thing that I wanted to do recently was charge for a service that was a lot lower than I initially thought, but I decided to go against that and charge a little bit more. And the reason is I think with inflationary pressures, you'll be able to charge that little bit of extra money, and you'll probably have to because you won't be making any more money with your particular software as a service app, even if you charge more, because the services are higher. But this is something that's really interesting because I remember when the App Store first came out, people did not want to spend $1 on an app, but now people don't do that. It's really good. In fact, a lot more people are into subscriptions, which is actually really good from the business point of view. It's 10 times better to sell a subscription than a lifetime product. However, you probably will sell more lifetime products than you will subscriptions. So in conclusion, is software development affected by inflation? Well, the answer is yes, but probably not as some other areas are. So obviously the physical goods associated with software development are affected by inflation, such as computers, etc. There is a little of a labor shortage, and there will always be a labor shortage, so that is also affected. And the price of software as a service is going to be higher because the services around that software services are going to be higher as well. So the answer is yes. So what can you do about it? Well, if you are a coder, then your chances are you're getting paid more than the average person, and if you move that money into crypto, then crypto is going to protect your assets because central banks will print so much money that all of that printed money is probably going to go into crypto. So if I were you, I would put a portion of every single paycheck into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. And I would also stake Ethereum and Cardano. This is the best way to protect yourself. All right, so that concludes this video. I want to know your thoughts down below. Has inflation affected you? Please write your comments down below. Remember, the channel did do Patreon said we sell digital products down. The more we get about the content that you buy below, the more content we can make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.